In this video, you will realize that something interesting happens when people is learning English. It's something that may cause a lot of frustration and could become one of the main obstacles to achieve the goal of speaking fluent English. I refer to the fear of studying English. And I am not talking about the fear of speaking English, which is something that comes later and can also be very difficult to overcome. It is possible that you have not even thought that this is a fear that is worth paying attention to. It is something that can affect negatively to some people, but this will depend on the person who is suffering it. This is a fear that occurs especially when trying to study in an environment where the study of the English is not very common. It mostly happens when someone begins to practice English, trying to repeat the words or phrases, and feels afraid because people around are laughing at him or her. Or maybe people is looking at him in a strange way. Or also for the simple fact that he looks weird studying something that nobody used to see in that environment. When I took the decision to learn English no matter the obstacles, something strange began to happen that I didn't think was very important, but it was hampering my progress in the language. I realized that I preferred to practice the pronunciation when nobody in my house was looking at me. When someone approached me, I stopped practicing the pronunciation and began simply to read and repeat the words in my mind. I did this because I was afraid that they would listen to me trying to pronounce words that were very difficult for me. When I finally managed to practice out loud, they started to stare at me in a weird manner, and I also saw a couple of laughs that were very difficult to assimilate. For a while, I'll stop studying when someone else was nearby. At the moment, the best thing that could happen to me was to realize that it was a fear that was affecting me in a negative way, and it was not going to help me at all to improve in English. Then I watched a video on YouTube about self-esteem in which a person was explaining how to increase the self-confidence. So what I did was to write something similar to a contract, in which I wrote the exact amount of time I had to learn to speak English, where not achieving it was not an option, because learning English was going to be the most important step in my life to accomplish the things I wanted to achieve. At the end of the contract, I put my signature and also the signature of 2 witnesses, so the commitment was real. From that moment on, I was not afraid of studying in front of someone else and nobody laughed at me when I did it. This may seem silly, and it's likely that someone may laugh after hearing this, but the point is that it worked, and that is the only thing that matters. It is understandable to some extent the fact that this fear of studying English in front of others exists, because, for example, here in my country, Guatemala, it is not very common to see someone really committed to the study of English. Someone who is 100% committed to learning English may have a little strange behavior when they are studying it, talking along while walking, being distracted, and other unusual things. This happens because someone who will surely learn to speak English at a very good level and also in a relatively short time is because he is obsessed to achieve it. And something I notice is that when you reach to that point, someone's behavior changes. It's something inevitable. I have seen many people having this kind of fear without even realizing that they have it. It also happened to me, and the way you can see if someone has it is something like this. When trying to read the following sentence in English, when you have this fear, it might sound something like this. Was there something wrong with the clouds? Was there something wrong with the clouds? Now, with more confidence, it will sound something like this. Was there something wrong with the clouds? Was there something wrong with the clouds? So you can notice it paying attention to the tone of voice that is used to read the sentence, because when this fear is present, the tone of voice lowers and sounds fearful when you hear it. It is not about always reading aloud, almost screaming, because doing this for a long time causes throat fatigue. It is about recognizing our natural tone of voice and using it as much as possible during the study. Doing it this way, when we finally have the opportunity to speak with a person, our self-confidence is going to be greater and the fear of speaking in English will be minimal. Generally, this fear affects more to people who have a not so high self-confidence. On the other hand, people with a high level of self-confidence, they will probably never suffer it. Well, if this is about self-confidence, the secret to getting rid of this fear is to increase the self-confidence in ourselves. One way to do it is with the help of someone else to motivate us and show us the way to achieve things that we thought were too difficult or impossible. But what happens when there is no one else to motivate us? Well, in this case, here comes self-motivation. Self-motivation is a skill like any other that can be learned by anyone. It's like learning to drive a car. At the beginning, it's very difficult. It becomes something natural that is done very easily without thinking how to turn the steering wheel, use the brake, or how to park. In section 2 of this course, there is a video called What You Need to Learn English on Your Own, in which I explain the importance of having a very important reason to study English. Remember that when you find a reason that is worth enough to make any sacrifice, self-motivation will begin to be by your side to give you the confidence you need, so that you don't care what others say. And of course, do not be afraid of speaking English to other people. You must understand that the initial fear is temporary. That fear of seeing oneself foolishly pronouncing the words wrong is something that will be in the past. And when you overcome those initial fears, learning English is going to be something much easier. Remember that now, less than ever, you are alone to learn the art of self-motivation. Just go to YouTube and look for motivational videos to give you some inspiration to do it. One of the things that can help you a lot is having a role model. In my case, my role model was Mr. Jack Ma. He is someone that I have talked about in previous videos in this course, but he was my role model because for me it was so inspiring to know all the things he did in order to learn English. Something else that you must learn as soon as possible is to stop giving importance to what other people say and think about you. Throughout your entire life, you will meet people who will not believe in your dreams, who will tell you that you cannot do what you want to do, and they will give you lots of reasons to show you that it is not possible to achieve what they don't believe they can achieve in their own lives either. At that moment, the best thing you can do is to stop listening to those toxic people and repeat to yourself over and over again that you are capable of doing it. The only person that you have to pay attention to his opinion is the person you see in the mirror, and make sure it's going to be a very good one. When you become this type of person, unexpected things start happening, and also very good ones. Some people around you will start to get inspired, and they will start to wonder if they can do it too. So when you see that this is happening, never criticize them, never laugh at their dreams, but do something better. If you start to encourage these people who begin to believe that it is possible, you will realize that you are not just helping them. Also, your self-confidence begins to increase enormously. Of course, in order to help someone else, you must first improve yourself in whatever you are doing. Another thing that is extremely effective in increasing your self-confidence is to visualize yourself achieving the dream of speaking English. Visualize yourself in the most vivid way possible, having accomplished the goal of speaking fluently in English, also as someone who is not affected by criticisms of others. To give an example, be like a duck, which no matter how much water falls on it, everything will slip. The truth is that I don't know very well why the visualization works, but the thing is that it works in some way. To make it easier to understand, make a search on YouTube, The Secret, Law of Attraction. You will find a documentary about the law of attraction that is amazing. Watch it and you will know what I am talking about. Finally, I want to mention something that I learned the bad way, and it is this. Don't share your goals. It's not worth doing it, because other people will not understand them, they will not care about them, and they will criticize you for having goals. You don't need to accumulate this type of negative situations on your way to learning English, and the best way to avoid it is not sharing your goals, unless it is with positive people who want to achieve the same goal. Something that has been learned by people who manage to learn English at a very high level is that fear is a personal decision, and it is up to us to face it or give in to it. If so many people have learned to speak English and have achieved it with even worse problems and circumstances, anyone can do it. So go and crush it, because I have no doubt that you will do it.